If I listened to you dumb fucks in my chat, I would have never been able to sit in front of massive liberal audiences like the Podjohns, spend 45 minutes defending the humanity of Palestinians and why they resist militarily. You don't think about that though. You only see the successes and you take it for fucking granted. You don't understand that that obviously requires a delicate touch. Yeah, my community is not nice and I yell at my community all the fucking time, but there's obviously so much that I can personally do. If you are in defense of Israel, or at least like awfully quiet about the atrocities of Israel, then yeah, people are gonna make up their own minds, right? There's Cory Booker having a conversation with David Pakman, and in this conversation, Cory Booker backs away from calling me an anti-Semite, apparently. Let's take a look at this combo, and then we'll get into the China summit.
Further to the left, it's become very popular to ask elected officials, would you go on Hasan Piker's stream? Now, I want to kind of just make clear, Hasan and I don't really get along. He recently alleged that I have an AIPAC handler, something that he said without evidence, which actually really affected my show. I think the only reason he said...
No, I've jokingly referred to David Pakman as David A. Pacman, but... Did I say he has an AIPAC handler? I don't remember. I don't think I did. I've also always been pretty cordial about David Pakman, contrary to what my community says. I guess like people also were yelling, I'll defend David on the Chorus Wired article, but pretending to not know AIPAC's a bad look. Like, does he think we're dumb enough to not know he knows what AIPAC, to not know that he knows what AIPAC is? It is one of the most well-known, powerful lobbying groups in the U.S. and has been talked about plenty in the last decade. To pretend that he doesn't know what AIPAC pretending it could be pronounced IPAC is just insulting anyone who follows this channel. All these years we defend this dude against AIPAC affiliation accusations and he insults us by pretending not to know how to pronounce it. Like, I don't think David Pakman is like funded by AIPAC, for the record. I've never stated that. I don't think that that is the case. But obviously, like, this is an area where he is heavily biased, right? Yeah, I'm always so fucking nice. I think this is probably a situation where Pakman is attributing your community's words to you. I'm always so nice about David because he's always been like somewhat cordial with me in spite of a very obvious, like glaringly obvious differences in opinion. So I don't know why he's like attributing a loss of revenue to me, trying to say that like I defamed him in a way that like actually impacted his finances. Very strange. Yeah, my community is not nice, and I yell at my community all the fucking time, but there's obviously so much that I can personally do. If you are, if you are in defense of Israel, or at least like awfully quiet about the atrocities of Israel, then yeah, people are going to make up their own minds, right? Israel is an area where he is heavily biased. That bias both stems from his own personal opinions about the state of Israel, but it also stems from his personal opinions when it comes to American foreign policy. Like David, regardless of his socially progressive attitude, for years and years, has had a lot of differences of opinion from someone like myself when it comes to American foreign policy. And he lands on the side that almost always is on the side of the United States, that rehashes and repeats whatever the State Department line is on a particular matter. Okay, so there's multiple reasons. He responds and says, guys, give me a break. I'm not pretending to not know what AIPAC is. I'm just unsure on the pronunciation. It's the same as how I get mixed up with the first O in sorrow is pronounced or how the first A in Lara is pronounced. I mean, I don't know about all that. I think that's, it just like, it feels as though he was just saying that to be like, I don't know, what is this AIPAC thing? And of course, there are a fuck ton of videos where he's saying AIPAC correctly. Like, I mean, that's
things. Number one,
like he is a lot more knowledgeable on this issue than he lets on, is what I mean. Of course he is. He's been doing this for 20 plus years, man. I guess like people also were yelling, I'll defend David on the Chorus Wired article, but yeah, so that's a little crazy, right? Like it's pretty obvious I did not say he has an AIPAC handler or anything like that. I don't know. I mean, maybe have I joked about it? I can't even think of an instance where I've like made a joke that he could have taken seriously. Because like I said, I have a policy of like not being as disruptive to people who at least offer me some level of charity. I can't be out here fucking burning bridges nonstop left and right. I don't really have a lot. I don't really have a lot of allies. I've definitely joked about calling him David A. Pacman. His brother works for the ADL. No, I know that. I'm aware of that. That's entirely different than claiming that someone has an APAC handler. As a matter of fact, if you look at the commentary there, clearly, if you look at the actual fucking commentary, I'm saying like, no, this is his own personal biases. I think it's not, he's not getting paid for this opinion or something like that.
That is, I'm Jewish. I've never had an APAC handler or taken $1 from APAC or anything like that. But I recognize that he has a huge audience that is further to the left of where you are and where I am. Reaching to the middle, I understand. Is there value in trying to reach that young, further to the left, anti-capitalist audience that he has built for better or worse?
A leader should reach out to everyone.
Oh, the libs are trotting out their entire panoply of tactics. Yeah,
I sit down with people in New Jersey from all.
Bro, stop trying to make friends with people who don't fuck with you. Guys, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Okay, it's just maybe this is gonna make you really upset, but I think a lot of people genuinely consider being the most antisocial person possible as the peak of like moral activism. No, I have to literally maintain a neutral posture against those who I oppose. Okay, that's it. You're never going to convince me not to do this because you don't see the success of not burning fucking bridges, because you consider burning bridges and not being diplomatic with other communities, with other massive communities, as like the peak of activism. And it's very frustrating. If I listened to you dumb fucks in my chat, I would have never been able to sit in front of massive liberal audiences like the Podjohns and spend 45 minutes defending the humanity of Palestinians and why they resist militarily. Okay? You don't think about that though. You only see the successes and you take it for fucking granted. You don't understand that obviously requires a delicate touch. The idea that people can change their minds is important to me, okay? And I will continue behaving in this pragmatic manner. Like, look. So what? Songo fucking hang out with the Nelk boys in Israel then. See, this is what I mean, okay? It's interesting because that's not a thing. Clearly, I still have some red lines, don't you think? And that's not what I've done, okay? That's not what I've done at all. You're being unbelievably annoying this past week, man. Take a fucking week off. Seriously. Nasty Chasty, you have been so fucking unbearable this past week. You really need a couple claps, okay? Jesus Christ. Oh, dude, you talk about how important it is to maintain a pragmatic and diplomatic relationship with other communities that are, aligned with you on certain issues, but not on others. Well, guess what? Why don't you go to Israel and kill Palestinians then? Why don't you just nuke Gaza then? I don't know, because those two things are on entirely separate fucking planets, dude. Perhaps that's the reason. Oh, dude, you think people have the capacity to change their minds and it's important to be fucking charitable to certain people, especially if they have, massive communities that will listen to what you have to say charitably instead of just fucking burning bridges left and right and being an antisocial freak? This is like the fashion conversation. Okay? It's the same principle. Anytime I talk about fashion being a part of the arts and being valuable to any degree, a lot of people who don't give a fuck about it sit on a fucking moral high horse and just go, dude, it's unethical. Fuck you. I'm the most ethical. I only spend my money on Warhammer figurines, right? And it's because you don't fuck with it. That's it. That's why you're doing the same exact thing here, where you're like, well, this is a pragmatic alliance that you think is appropriate. I don't. Okay. Well, why are we having a conversation about Marjorie Taylor Greene being a part of the coalition then? Tucker Carlson. It's always the same dumb fucks. It's like, bro, attack the Podjohns, but also at the same time align with Tucker Carlson. Well, fuck no. I'm doing the opposite, okay? I would much rather align with the Podjohns and also be unbelievably critical about Tucker Carlson. Anyway, my point is not to like be fucking best friends with David Pakman either, but you guys don't have a way to understand it. I'm sorry, Hasan, but you deserve it. I tweeted to him 900 times that you said he had a handler. There's a very valid reason for this. I've been telling you to go back to gaming for months now and dropping Pragmata right when it was going to get really good is a real stab to the heart. I don't regret it. I'll do it again, even if it means burning your relationship with center-right figures like him. Yeah, no, I wasn't even saying that like, oh, what's really interesting about this is this was me literally being like, I've been unbelievably gracious to David Pakman in spite of our ideological differences. And he's still fucking, saying ridiculous shit about me on his show to Cory Booker, who has, compared me to unfavorable far-right figures, right? And it's really interesting. But of course, the real conversation has to turn into how I'm too nice to David Pakman because I'm not demanding he go to prison or something. You just want to see blood. You don't think about stuff like pragmatically. You're too passive and other people are fans of yours. See that? You're creating permission structure that puts others in harm. It's the passive permission structure that you're creating that people have a problem with. Yeah, no. Wokely describe how I've created a permission structure by criticizing David Pakman's opinions on Israel over and over again without saying he has a fucking AIPAC handler, which he's now lying about. Again, I choose my words carefully when I talk about these sorts of things, and there's a reason for it. David Pakman is not my friend. I haven't talked to him privately or personally in years. It's been half a decade, okay? These chatters literally spent 4 hours shitting on you and other streamers' chats. I saw this chatter do this earlier and then come in here and they try to make every conversation about how you're the problem. I know. You're never going to get a perfect figure. You're always going to fall out of love with every single person that you ordain as the movement leader. And then for the rest of your lives, you're going to say, oh man, this is a real problem with the left. Why can't we have any fucking movement leaders? I don't know, brother, because you got the knives out every time. You can agree with me on 9 out of 10 issues, okay? But on the 10th one, where we have like a slight disagreement in tactics, and you go, you should be killed. You should literally go to jail. You should be the most jailed person in America. I now agree with the Republicans on this. Okay? I now agree with the Republican Party on this. Maybe you should be deported and denaturalized. Charitability. Have a little bit of charitability, especially for someone whose community you've been a part of for like fucking years and years and years. You know? Jesus Christ.
All across the political and ideological spectrum, especially looking to sit down with people that I don't agree with. They've made a better senator. They've made me a better leader. They've made me a better public servant. So I appreciate the way you approach this question, because I remember getting ticked off when I was running for president, and we actually banded together and all said, enough of these, like raise your hand if you believe da-da-da-da-da, which was just lightning bolt questions with no nuance and no discussion. I am seeing the crisis we're in because, again, in the Central Ward of Newark, New Jersey, there is so much frustration with politics as usual. We need a revolution like we had in the time of the New Deal, a revolution like we had in the time of LBJ in the 1960s. Every time we have a generational movement. And this is a time where enough of the baby boomer generation that has given us so much, but I don't think we should have, this should be the last baby boomer head of the Senate.
I guess my point, by the way, my point is that like what I want from at least my community is a little bit more fucking grace and a little bit more charitability, especially when I'm fucking eating it, man. I don't want to duke it out in here with you guys too, especially with long-term community members. Like, do you not see what's going on? Do you have no care or consideration for what's happening beyond your immediate needs and your immediate worldview? Do you not see some very powerful forces uniting to try to deplatform me? We just went through a fucking article where there's like Jewish advocacy organizations trying to bar my entry into the UK, man. Like, how do you look at all of that and say, you know what? This is the moment where I lean into these forces and try to fucking hit them from the left flank as well. I feel like I've done enough work in this space for you to have a little bit of charitability with what I'm doing, right? This is a huge problem with the broader left anyway. We're so fragmented. We're so unbelievably fragmented, and we just like sit around and we think, why are we so fragmented? This is why. This is a big part of it. People don't think about like movement building or organizing with people that you don't fucking agree with 99% of the time. You just go, nah, fuck this guy. And you can literally be a fan for years and years, right? You can be a fan for years and years, and you'll be like, I didn't like the way you conducted yourself here, and I actually don't care about why you did the thing that you did. I've now decided you're my enemy. You're my ideological opponent. This is how people find themselves in like weirdly, tinier, fragmented splinter groups and communities that spend every fucking waking moment, instead of attacking the forces of capital, instead of attacking much more powerful entities in this country that are cancerous to both discourse and cancerous to the democratic process, but instead attacking people like myself. It's opportunists. I care about other people around us. No, you're gonna fucking wokely do the same thing, okay? Look, and then now you're saying it's because DSA, this is why DSA, I care about other people around us, including the most marginalized, and it's not just Pac-Man. If people have done harm, they have to apologize and prove that they've changed. This is like, what are you, who, what are you referencing? You're making vague generalizations right now, okay? You're making vague fucking generalizations. This is why, like, DSA and other left spaces are incredibly white. The attitude make people not want to join. Okay, man. I don't know. I don't know how to answer your vague, generalized statements that I largely agree with. Yes, if people are doing fucking harm to black and brown people, they should apologize for it if they've actually, learned and changed and rehabilitated. You're just being fucking disingenuous when you bring this up, because the implication here is that I'm doing that. The implication here is that I'm playing a role in this, okay? And then you tie it to like this generalized attitude that the broader Democratic Socialists of America movement is actually not responsive to the needs of black and brown people. And now you have become a spoiler. Now you've become a wrecker. Okay? Like, where are we at here? Do you have your own movement? Okay, build your own then, Like, do you think this is an appropriate read on the current predicament? The overwhelming majority of DSA-affiliated or DSA-endorsed congresspersons in the Democratic Party are black and brown, dude. Like, you could barely find a white guy in that movement. And you're over here talking about how, like, these DSA hate the POC. DSA hate people of color. They hate the needs of people of color. How are you any different than these fucking, DNC-aligned K-Hive movement guys who spend a good deal of time, basically every waking moment, shitting on the left flank over and over again? You literally have become that person at that point. You understand that, right? Like, think about what you're saying. It's just disingenuous. And I think the reason why we're having this conversation is because I will be talking to Nithya Raman later today, and a lot of people are frustrated about this. They don't even know what questions I'm going to ask her. They have no idea what this conversation is going to look like, but they've already automatically decided, here he goes again. Classic Hasan. I'm a very privileged person, okay? And I try to use that privilege for good. This is a big part of what I do. Obviously, I also am on the receiving end of a fuck ton of Islamophobic sentiment as well. Clearly. Okay. But by and large, I'm a very privileged guy. Okay. And outside of that privilege, I have a worldview that I have described over and over again to you. That I lead with charity. Okay. I lead with charitability. I lead with the notion that people are always victim to broad systemic social forces. Unc, I generally agree with you on your takes. I do disagree with one aspect of what you said. I feel like this isn't a problem with the left, but more so a problem with chronically online spaces in general. That has nothing to do with their political alignment. People online tend to be inflammatory or irrational for some reason. Yes, you're absolutely correct. It is extremely online behavior. Meanwhile, this is, if you want to know the average online person, this is their attitude, by the way. It's so funny that people will be like, people that don't talk to a normal human being for most of their, for throughout most of their day, don't realize that like the broader online space, like we are in an incredibly comfy zone here. It's actually unbelievable that there is this many woke people, this many educated people, this many invested people that lead by empathy, because this is usually the rest of the internet is like this. He's jester maxing. Stop jester maxing. Why are you jester maxing now? Gay Mario, LGBT Mario, based. Stop jester maxing. Brown clown. You're a brown clown, bruh. You looking rough. LGBT Mario yapping about nothing. Muttman, brown clown. I don't even know what Muttman means, but I assume it's some fucking racialized thing. Jester maxing mongrel. You looking rough, bruh. Muttman. That's usually the average person on the internet. And I hope you guys understand that that's the space that we occupy. That's the space that we're in. Okay, we're in a fucking hug box. Most of these people are obviously 12 years old anyway.